So today I am literally wheelchairing it up. So I thought I would just, now everything's gone online and you don't have a map of the park anymore, I thought there might be a few people that find it quite difficult to work everything out, and it's a lot to work out, especially if you're going to Disney for the first time, or and you've got a wheelchair user with you, or you are in a wheelchair. My daughter is 10 years of age. We've been going to Disneyland Paris since she was 4. Lots changed since then, but a few more rides, which is great, wheelchair accessible rides. So basically I just wanted to give you an overview of all of the wheelchair accessible rides. So this isn't rides that if you're in a wheelchair you can transfer to. Obviously you can to all of the rides, but this is more about the rides that if you're in a wheelchair and you want to stay in your wheelchair, you can, basically, you can do that. So in the main Disneyland Paris park, so we're talking Disneyland, you've got the train when it's running that goes around the whole park. You can get on and off in Main Street. So as you walk in, you kind of walk under the station. There are lifts on that station to get you upstairs into the train station, and you can get on in your wheelchair there. You can't, however, get off until you get back there. The other stations dotted around the park are not accessible, but the main one is. So you can get on it, you can ride round, and then you can get back off where you got on. So I know some people use it to get around the park, and which is great. It's really handy, but it's not really accessible in a wheelchair. Disability buggy potentially, if they let you take the disability buggy with you. Isla's not really fussed on the train, so we haven't really used it, to be honest. It's either not working when we've been there, or we've just been too busy when we have been there. But we need to make it priority the next time we go. It's something we really need to do, and we probably will vlog it because we've never done it before. And that sounds ridiculous in 6 years of going, but we just haven't. Buzz Lightyear Laser Blast is the next up in the Disneyland Paris park. It's a great sensory ride. If your child or the disabled person really likes lights, it's very dark in there, but then you've got all the neon lights, so it just feels like it's really bright. I can't explain it. It feels like it's really bright. Like in a black light scenario, so you've got like that purple light, it lights everything up. It's really beautiful. So although it's like it is all black, the background, it's not really dark in there. Very noisy, some really great music, really great theming. And if you've got a disabled person that's got really great movement in their arms and can hold the gun to shoot, that's really fun. Isla tends to just play with it and let Jason's like, yeah, come on, let's do it, and she really enjoys that. So that's a really great ride. And you go in on your wheelchair, there's a whole wheelchair car, opens up, you go in on a ramp, so you go up and left, and they put you in. There's loads of space for an adult wheelchair. My daughter's in a pediatric wheelchair, so a smaller one, but still her wheelchair is pretty big. Actually, it's not far off being a full size, so it's pretty big. Like I said, she is 10, she's very tall, so there's absolutely no problems with that. Really easy load and offload. They stop the ride so that you can get off, because it's a moving walkway to get on, so they are really great and amenable there. So it's a really great option for you. Now, Small World, it has been closed for a while for refurbishment. It's opening of spring, so as I'm filming this, it's 2023. It's opening of spring 2023, so hoping by Easter it's open by the end of March. There is an annual pass soiree, and I do wonder whether or not it'll be an opening thing. An opening night for the soiree, maybe be the first people around there, but I just don't know. That's not gospel. I tried to find out today. I phoned up and tried to find out, because I don't know whether we want to do the annual pass soiree. I think my husband's a bit, but it should be open now on for quite a long time, as they've completely refurbished it. And the Small World has a wheelchair boat, so you just push the child on. We have got a video of the American version. Paris version is slightly different, but it's very, very similar. I think there's a bit more seating in the American boat than there is in the French boat. Don't get me wrong, I think you can have 3 other people in that boat with you. And yeah, so it's a really great ride. It's a really great ride for when it's really cold in the winter, because it's about 15 minutes all the way around. It takes about 15 minutes, so it's a nice warm up. But then you have got the offloading where you're sitting and freezing, because the offloading can be pretty slow. And if the wheelchair boat's just gone and you've just got there, you're gonna have to wait 15 minutes to get onto the ride, so it can be quite a slow load, but it's a great ride and a great option if you're in a wheelchair and you want to stay in your wheelchair. Shows, I've put shows on here just as a general park rule. They're all accessible, you can do all of the shows, and they really do make the day. Sometimes they really do. The last thing in the park that you can stay in that's I class as like a ride is the Molly Brown riverboat ride, which is over in, I want to say again, Frontierland. It's right next door to Big Thunder Mountain, and that basically just goes round Thunder Mountain. It's like a nice slow riverboat ride. You can definitely get on there in your wheelchair, and it's just nice, especially when it's nice and hot in the summer as well. It's just a nice relaxing like time away. And also if you're like an adult in a wheelchair and you've gone with children and a big family and you might just want, you know, grown-ups want a bit of headspace, it's really lovely to do. Really lovely. There's also one of those in America as well. I think there's one in all parks, I'm not sure, don't quote me on it, but I know there's one in America, there's one in Florida. And then on Wednesday, what am I like on Wednesday? Over in Walt's Hollywood Studios, I'm gonna have to try and edit that out. So Walt's Hollywood Studios, we've got the Remy ride. So the in the French side, you've got a little French area, sorry, and then you've got the Remy ride, which is just absolutely a fantastic ride. You can go in your wheelchair. It's very new to them. They tested the wheelchair, a few wheelchair cars, and they've come up with this one. One person can be seated with that person that's in the wheelchair, which is really nice. Me and Isla tend to go, and my husband and my son tend to go in another car, and it's just a nice little girly thing that we do. I like to be with her, and it's a really, really lovely ride. And often with these rides, I would just add in, if nobody's waiting for that wheelchair car and you're already loaded, do ask to go again, because you might get a no, but if there isn't anybody waiting, by the time they've offloaded you and unloaded you, you may as well just go ride again. So it's always worth an ask. Always worth an ask. You might always get a no, but it's always worth an ask. The next step, which I have got a vlog of that I've got to do, is Aladdin's Magic Carpets. Now, Isla did not ride this in the wheelchair car this time. There is a wheelchair car. It's more primarily smaller wheelchairs. So if you're in a large wheelchair, you might not fit in, and so they might have to say no to you. But there is a wheelchair car, so there is an option for a wheelchair car. Isla decided that she didn't want to ride in the wheelchair car. She wanted to sit with Daddy, and that was fine. But then she'll come off and she wanted to go again, and the lady said, oh, okay. So she had to wait a really long time to go on again, and then they let her go twice that time. So she managed to ride it 3 times. She wasn't in a wheelchair car, but she did manage to ride it 3 times, which was just absolutely great. It made our day, because there are so few rides that she will go actually on, regardless of whether she's in a wheelchair. She prefers to be in a wheelchair, and there's a few of the rides that she just really doesn't like in Hollywood Studios. So it was really nice that she got 3 rides on that ride. It's one of her favourite rides, and it was just that she decided not to, which is your prerogative. It's the disabled person's prerogative at the end of the day. If they can walk a few steps, if they can load, if you can lift them onto the ride, they don't have to be in their wheelchair. These are just the options I'm giving you. These are just what you can definitely ride in a wheelchair. Next up is a brand new ride, the Spider-Man ride. I cannot tell you how much this made our trip. It was a fantastic ride. It was really good, but I would say it's very noisy. So if you have a disabled person that's maybe got a wheelchair that's also autistic, and really doesn't like sharp noises, I would really recommend you not taking them on this ride. You can miss out on a pre-show. The pre-show is very dark, very noisy, very loud and very claustrophobic. So you can miss the pre-show entirely. No matter who you are, you can ask to miss the pre-show. But saying that, the ride is very noisy. The ride is very loud and the ride is very, very noisy. And I'm not entirely sure Isla really liked it all that much, but she definitely enjoyed it, and I don't know if she'd choose to go back on it again. As a family, it made our trip. We had a bench, we were all sat together, Isla was anchored in a wheelchair. It was just really fantastic to see that they put so much effort into a brand new ride, and that Disney are continuing to put more effort in for disabled people, which is really great. Under my book, that's a really great thing. There's also the Cars Road Tour, which you can ride in a wheelchair. That's sort of been transformed from, I can't think what it was called now, but it was like more of a movie set, sort of going through a movie set, and now it's all around the Cars sort of theme. There's a really great food truck out there actually that's quite cheap, that you can sit and eat outside, which is quite nice. It was very quiet as well. There wasn't really long queues for the ride. You have to walk to the very back of the park at the moment, and it feels a bit like a dead end, but I can see it's behind the Slinky Dog sort of section and behind the RC car races sort of section. So you sort of come out of Ratatouille World and sort of, there's a little toy shop, and you just sort of walk behind all of that. But the road for that is absolutely fantastic. It's very short. So again, and I feel like there's more than one space for a wheelchair, and there's more than one car that goes around the tours. So if you're on there, it's such an effort to load. I would really ask to stay on, and I'm pretty sure they probably would say yes, because it is an effort. It's a lot of effort to get you off. And we didn't ask to ride again, and I felt really foolish for not, because there was nobody there to get on the ride. And so I felt a bit foolish not to. In America, they're a bit better. America, they'll always ask again, because they know how hard it is to get on and off in a wheelchair. It's a faff for them, even just to get you in some of the rides. So in America, you really do, they really are there. If there's nobody waiting for that wheelchair car, they'll leave you on there. If you wanted to stay on there, they'd leave you on there. They really would. After about 3 times in America on the Winnie the Pooh ride, I was done. But yeah, so... and then again, I've just put in the shows. All of their shows, you can get a wheelchair user in. They're really great with that. This is everything at Disneyland Paris. So what have you got? You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You've got 8 rides at the moment that you can ride in your wheelchair. Now, I know that's not like as many as if you're not in a wheelchair, but I do feel a little bit like certain rides, like if you were in a wheelchair and you were to ride it in a wheelchair, 1, it wouldn't be safe, and 2, would you really want to be going on a massive roller coaster in your wheelchair? I don't know if you would. Maybe you would, and maybe there's such a way to go with disability and rides. But at the moment, especially with things like the Spider-Man ride, it was fantastic, and I really think it's a lovely option for grown-ups in a wheelchair. Like the Ratatouille ride is quite grown up. You know, the Aladdin ride, in a wheelchair, you might not want to go on that. You might not want to go on Small World. You might not want to go on Buzz Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear is a great ride though, I would say. You know, so I just feel like the Spider-Man ride might be the only ride you ride that day. You know, things like the train, if you're a bit more maturer, the train and the riverboat ride might be the only thing you do. But I wouldn't say, you know, oh, we've only got 8 rides. We've got the shows. There is so much to see, so much to do at Disneyland. Even just walking around, the atmosphere, the popcorn smell, you know, everything is just fantastic. Even just sometimes just talking to the cast members can make your day. It's just fantastic fun. It's just fantastic fun. I would never be put off going to Disney in a wheelchair. And I wish I'd took my daughter earlier. We went on a Make-A-Wish trip and I wish I'd took her earlier. I hope these tips have helped you. These, again, they're my tips. These are just what I found. They're not really tips, but this is just a wheelchair ride. But yeah, so I'm really hoping with the new extensions that are happening now at especially the Hollywood, the studio side of Disneyland Paris, that in that park they've got the Star Wars section coming. We've had the Avengers, we've been added another ride. We've got the Frozen section, we've got the Frozen Castle. I'm really hoping there's some really good, accessible, you know, stuff there. I really hope there's something accessible. And the Frozen ride, you know, is a transfer in America. Wouldn't that be fantastic if they could get a wheelchair in? That would be fantastic. So thanks so much for watching. Please do like and subscribe. We're travel focused. I do shopping hauls. I do weekly shop hauls, food shop hauls, sorry. We're sort of documenting a little bit about Isla's life coming up now. We've got New York coming, we've got Florida coming. There's so much coming. So thanks so much, guys, for watching. And I do hope that these tips, my previous tip video that's just before, I've done just before this one, and these rides, you know, give you a little bit more information and help you. And if you've got any questions, please do ask. Please put on the comments. I'm here for you. It might take me a while to get back. I don't often get the notifications straight away with YouTube, so it might be like an hour or two later, maybe the next day, but I will endeavour to get back to you. I'll endeavour to comment back to you. We really appreciate everyone that likes and subscribes. So let's just, you know, if you want to comment, if you want to ask a question, if you want to know what rides you can ride in a wheelchair in Florida, I could do that for you. We've covered a few rides that are on our page. We've covered the Buzz Lightyear load-in. We've covered the Remy Road load-in. We've covered Small World in America. We will cover Small World in Florida, Paris when we can. I've covered the Cars ride load-in. I just haven't uploaded that video yet. So that's going to be something that's coming. So when this is up, that should be up. So I should say I've covered that. And that's everything for today, guys. Thanks ever so much. Big thumbs up.